Kia ora everyone, welcome to another virtual yoga club. Today we are going to do a fully standing sequence. So the first thing we're going to do is bring our feet to about hip width apart. Should be nice and comfortable, so we're not too wide, our feet aren't stuck together, we're just standing comfortably. In this position I want you to really ground your feet into the mat. Roll your shoulders back a few times. And really think about pulling from the ground up. Lengthen the spine. Palms out to the side, and we're going to take some deep breaths here. From here we're going to bring our palms to our chest, keeping the arms and the hands engaged. We're not just holding them like this. Nice. Press the palms onto each other, not too hard. This is an active and engaged pose. From here we're going to reach our palms up, open the hands up, eyes between the hands. From here I'm going to let my left arm come down, I'm going to reach across with my right arm. And swap them over. To center. We're going to do some swan dives now. So this is just a process of coming in and out of our forward folds. We're going to bring the arms up, swan dive down, bring the arms up, swan dive down, hinging from the hips. Bring the arms up, inhale. Exhale, leaning from the hips. We're going to do 3 more of these. Okay, so next we're going to head into our warrior flow, and today we're actually going to introduce warrior 3 to our sequence. This is a balance pose, and might be a little bit tricky to start with, but it's a really good one to start incorporating into that flow and starting to practice. So we're going to come to the back of our mats, turn the right foot out to the side, pick the left leg up, bring it forward. Remember, with our warrior poses we have a bend in the knee. Rotating the hips over to that front leg, we're going to start with our warrior 1, engage the palms, arms come up, looking forward, nice deep breaths. Make sure that front knee isn't falling into the middle. From here we're going to rotate the hips, keep that knee in place, bring the arms down to shoulder height into that warrior 2 pose. Here we're going to reach back into our peaceful warrior. That back hand isn't putting any pressure on that back leg, it's just resting there. And coming forward. Resting that front forearm on that front thigh. Back arm comes up and over. Elongating that right side. Okay, this is where we're going to head into Warrior 3. So I'm going to bring my arm down. I do this with my palms to my chest. However, you can do it with your arms out straight ahead of you. I'm going to rotate my hips to the front. This is going to be my base leg. I'm going to pick up that back leg first of all, just a little bit so I can transfer some of the weight to that base leg. Then, keeping my core nice and tight, my back nice and straight, I'm going to lift up that back leg. So the other alternative for this is arms out in front. Hold that for as long as you can, then just bring that back leg down, straighten up. So that's our Warrior 3. We'll come to the back of our mat again, try it on the other side. Turn the left foot out to the side this time, pick the right one up. Bring it forward, bend that front knee, rotate the hips over that front leg. Engage the palms, arms up, eyes forward, into Warrior 1. Opening the hips up to the side, bring the arms down to shoulder height for Warrior 2. Watch that knee isn't falling into the centre. Keep it nice and straight, tracking over the toes. Reaching back into our peaceful warrior. Reaching forward. Whoops. When you're ready again, rotate the hips forward, pick up that back leg just to shift the weight forward. And when you're ready, pick up that back leg. When you're ready, just drop that back leg down. And that's our full warrior sequence. How exciting. Have a little bit of a play around with Warrior 3 and that transition from either Warrior 2 to Warrior 3 or from our humble warrior to Warrior 3. And just take it nice and slow. Don't rush. Remember, those poses like tree and Warrior 3, anything balance related, is about teaching you patience. We're going to introduce another new pose that we haven't done yet so far. This is chair pose. So I'm going to keep my feet, they aren't together, so they aren't touching, but they are inside my hip width this time. It's not a super low movement. However, what we're going to do is bring our arms up. In fact, I might actually do this from the side. So we're going to bring our arms up and then sit back down. Keeping your spine nice and straight, so I'm not bending forward. It's just a small bend in the knees. Engaged palms still, keep breathing. And relax. We're going to do that 2 more times. Shake it out. I don't know about you, but I feel that in my quads and I feel it in my shins as well. Okay, when you're ready, engage the palms, bring the arms up and down. Good, and release. One more time. Okay, last one. Bring the arms up. good. So that one, while it doesn't seem like a huge movement, it's still a pretty intense stretch and an intense pose. Our number 4 pose today. So this, just like our tree, we want to make sure we're not putting any unnecessary pressure on our knee joint. If you need to hold on to something for balance, that's okay. That's a bit dirty. That's totally okay. You're still going to get the benefit from the stretch. So we're going to start with our right leg as our base. Bring that left leg up, resting it on the thigh, the quad muscles, making sure you're not putting any pressure on the knee joint, and then we're going to bend that base leg. If you can, palms to chest. You should feel the stretch in the outside of that top leg. This is a little bit like a standing version of our thread the needle pose. And coming up, good. Oh, that's such a good stretch. Alright, let's do the other side. Left leg is our base this time. Bringing the right leg up and over the quad muscle. Bending down. If you've got alright balance today, you can bring your palms to your chest. If you need to hold on to something, that's all good. Might hold on to something. Also, the other joint that has no pressure on it is my ankle. So if that part of my foot was resting on the thigh, it might pull the ankle joint, like when we're in lotus. That's what we have to be careful of. Really, really want to make sure we're looking after our joints, especially the knees and the ankles and the wrists when we're doing our yoga stuff. Oh my God, another new thing today, we're going to run through our tree pose. If you were at the Easter Sunday live Zoom session, we ran through this. However, if you weren't, we're going to run through some alternative hand positions while you're in your tree pose. So what we've been doing so far is palms to chest, or if you need to hold on to something for balance, that's okay. So if you're feeling a little bit more confident in your tree pose and your balance is going pretty well for you, the next step is to reach your arms up, open them out, and gazing up in between your hands. So you can't quite see my hands. There we go. Oh, that's hard. So that's your first extension, is to transfer from, so we would always start with the palms to chest, then we would go up and open. My eyes have moved up instead of in front of me. From there, I would bring my arms down behind my back, and I can't really do it, but into that reverse prayer pose. So try and get your palms together if you can. I cannot. If you wanted to though, you could always just hold your hands behind your back. This is just going to help open up the chest as well while you're in that pose. So there's a lot of different things that we can try with our tree pose today. One of the things I always used to say though is that you mustn't rush. So you mustn't try and just go straight to here. Go through the process. Arms up, open, down, back. When you want to come out of it, the best way to do it, sometimes you fall out of a pose and that's okay. Like you might have to just drop your knee to the ground, it's not a hand or a knee, it's a foot to the ground. But the best thing to do is reverse the sequence. So if I was ending up here, I would want to bring everything back in and back down. That's not always possible, and it's not the end of the world if you don't do that, but it's a good thing to sort of think about starting a pose one way, getting to the point where you hold it, and then bringing it back to that starting position as much as you can. Let's get into our trees for today. So we're going to put our right foot on the ground first. Pick that left foot up, so make sure you got your balance. Feeling pretty good on that foot today, but let's see how that goes. Pick the knee up and bring it out in front of you, then out to the side. Wave to your neighbour. Rest your foot wherever you want to. Remember, not over the knee joint. Oh, I cursed myself. There we go. Okay. Starting with the palms to chest. If you're not holding on to something for balance. Oh, it's tricky today. Find something that isn't moving, that's in your eye line. Focus on that. and be patient. If you have to bring the toes down to the ground for today, just like me, that's okay. When you're shifting your gaze from in front of you to higher up, that's when you need to be really slow and really patient to make sure you don't lose your balance. Good. That was just for me. If there's no one else here to encourage, I'll encourage myself. I'm getting foot cramp. And when you're ready, as much as you can, reverse that pose, shake it out. Oh, foot's not happy with me. And we'll do it on the other side, starting with our left foot on the ground. Bring that right knee up, out to the side, place it. Palms to chest. Oh no! It's going so good. Okay, there's a good example of sometimes you just have to fall out of a pose. Alright, so we've done quite a few new things today. We've got one more new thing at the end. But before we do that, we're going to do our Namaste pose. So this is where we start, not unlike our warriors. We turn our right foot out to the side. This is less of a step forward, so it's not very big. Keeping my legs straight as if I was in triangle pose. I'm going to rotate the hips. Now this is the one where my left leg is forward, so I'm going to think about pulling my left hip back and pushing my right hip forward so that they balance out, and that is just going to really amplify the stretch that we're doing in the hips. So hands behind your back in that reverse prayer if you can, otherwise I'm just holding on to my hands. Make sure that you're not pulling on the wrists, keeping that flat back. Remember, I'm pulling my left hip back, pushing my right hip forward. I'm going to hinge forward, try and keep a flat back as much as you can, and stretch. If you want to enhance this stretch, keeping your legs straight, try and bring your hands down, either side of your foot. So fingertips is okay. Ideally the goal is flat hands, but that is a very deep stretch. Keep those knees straight. You should feel this more in the back of your thigh as well now. Maybe a little bit less in the back leg. Alright, let's come out of that one. Ooh. I'm just swapping to the other side so that you can still see me. You don't have to do that. Left leg out to the side this time. Right leg forward. Remember, it's not a huge lunge forward. Hips to the front. This time my right leg is forward, so I'm pulling that right hip back, pushing the left one forward. As soon as you even start to think about that, it's going to start to activate those muscles in there. I'm going to balance the hips out, hands behind my back, hinging from the hips, keeping that back nice and straight, keeping my knees straight, so no bend. You want to make it harder, bring the hands down, keep the knee straight to the front. Woo. Here comes a little bit more of a hamstring and glute stretch. And then when you're ready, standing up. It's another good point actually, is that coming out of a pose is just as important as going into and holding the pose. So we have a tendency sometimes, if we're doing a pose, that when it's finished we just kind of stop. We want to make sure that every movement is a part of that pose. So Warrior 2 isn't just this, it's the whole process that it takes to get in and out of it as well. So that's just something to be mindful of when you're doing your sequences and your poses. Every step of the way is part of the pose. Okay, last one. We're going to need our straps. Okay, so another balance pose. This might take some practice, but it is a fun one to practice. So I'm going to take my right foot and my strap. I'm going to put the strap around the ball of my foot. So not in the arch, not around the toes, not on the heel. Okay, my left leg is going to be my base. I'm going to bring my foot in front, use this arm for balance, come out to the side. Yeah, this is called our big toe pose. Eventually the goal is to be able to hold on to your big toe. I used to be able to do it. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah, still got it. We'll do it a couple of times on each side. Because if you're anything like me, you can't hold it for very long. Best to give it a couple of practices. Left foot this time. Just working the straps through my hands. Bring it in front. Out to the side. Good, let's do it one more time on each side. Give it a go as well. Holding onto your toe, see if you can, if you've got the flexibility. There's a whole bunch of things I feel like, if you've never done this kind of stuff before, there's a whole bunch of things that you might be able to do that you just have no idea because you've never tried. Doesn't matter if you only hold it for a short time. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Someone was telling me the other day that they've been practicing their tree pose, and I could tell because it looked so good. If you do a little bit consistently, you will see a difference. Okay, last one. That feels pretty good. Alright, excellent. I hope you enjoyed that one. That is our standing sequence. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me.